Reboots. Don't you just love them? I mean, I do. One of my favourite shows of all time when I was growing up was called Reboot. It was set in the inner computer world of Mainframe, where a Guardian programmed sprite and his friends defend the system from threats and viruses and the user, and this has nothing to do with Star Trek. We recently dropped a video where we discussed who we would cast in a hypothetical reboot of The Next Generation, and you loved it so much. Comments flew in from left, right, centre. Oh, Marcus, you know there's nothing better than a reboot. Oh, Marcus, you're a genius. Oh, after watching this thing, what we think we need now is another reboot. Marcus, how come you aren't working on a new Trek reboot already? Okay, guys, after all of that, we thought it only would make sense to do it again. This time with Deep Space Nine. In all seriousness though, I would take the news of a reboot of Deep Space Nine with hesitation, but that doesn't mean I can't have a little bit of fun with some speculation about who could step into the roles if the situation arose. Now, this entire video is purely, I repeat, speculation, so budgeting for these players plays no part in my dream. So I'm gonna go for some big ones. Let's take a leap of faith and let's see who could be manning that lonely station on the edge of the final frontier. I am Marcus Bronzy, this right here is Trek Culture, and we're going to be casting Deep Space Nine's reboot. Number 19, General MARTOK, Brian Blessed. You can't not say Brian Blessed like that, by the way. Brian Blessed! Brian Blessed! Before you start with the he's too old chat, if Patrick Stewart can lead a show whilst he's in his 80s, then so can Brian Blessed! Alright? Brian Blessed was made to be a Klingon when you think about it. He would be the most believable leader of a bunch of Klingon soldiers, single-handedly charging into battle if the need arose. It takes very little imagination for you to think of him in full Klingon gear with a ridged forehead and an eye patch. Yes! I mean, I find it easy to believe that his voice alone would turn even the bravest Jem'Hadar warrior on their hill and send them scurrying back through the wormhole where they came from. There might not even be a war at all if Brian Blessed had been there. Hey, take that. Number 18, Vic Fontaine, Michael Bublé, the boobs. No, Bublé would be the perfect choice to take on the role of the crooning loud singer in QUARK's Holosuites. I mean, his voice is like melted butter, and he has acting experience already. Plus, it was sci-fi. He did a little bit in X-Files, so based purely on that, I can decide it's not a huge jump for him to end up in the Trek universe. Plus, he suits the style of the lounge. It's not a stretch to imagine him decked out in a tux, singing to the crew as they toast with champagne flutes. There's also another reason for casting him. It has become something of a running joke that the boob is only let out of his cage when it comes close to Christmas. So wouldn't it be nice to let the boobs out at other times of the year? Number 17, Kai Wynn, Sarah Paulson. One might see this and think, are they just basing this off the fact that she played Louise Fletcher's most famous role? And to that I say, yeah, a bit. Sarah Paulson is just phenomenal in everything she appears in. She was a powerhouse in her various roles in American Horror Story. I mean, look, she can do funny, she can do horror, she can do authority, she can do vulnerability. Kai Wynn is one of the most hateable characters in Deep Space Nine, though she unquestionably believes that what she is doing is right whenever she does it. Now, Paulson is an actor who can absolutely sell that belief to me in her actions. I mean, this would be a fantastic casting win. You get it? Win? Or whatever. Number 16, DAMAR, Burn Gorman. Glyn Gol Legate DAMAR was fantastically realised by Casey Biggs, but I want to save my one returning actor for another spot in the list, because in case you don't know, that's what we do in the reboot. We always have one that we bring back. That's just a thing, all right? Now, the growth that character goes through is immense throughout the 4 seasons that he appears in, so taking on that role has to come with a big slice of talent. Burn Gorman made a splash with his arrival in Torchwood. Whilst he wasn't a bad guy through and through, there were certainly ways that he knew to portray an anti-hero type. So later, with his roles in Game of Thrones, The Dark Knight Rises and The Expanse, he has showed that he can deliver range. If this fantasy reboot exists in a world of unlimited budgets and presumably a shorter series, DAMAR needs to be explored carefully but quickly. And Burn Gorman, you're the man for the job. Number 15, DUKAT, Mads Mikkelsen. Now, DUKAT is probably the most evil single character in all of Star Trek. I mean, he's so evil, he got possessed by an evil spirit to become even more evil. So casting him needs to be of the highest priority. For you see, DUKAT is not simply an evil megalomaniac, he is also, in his own, I just want to be clear with, I repeat, in his own twisted way, in his head, he's a caring father figure for the BASHIR people, and a leader of the Cardassians. So to display this level of derangement, one needs to look no further than the fantastic and frightening Mads Mikkelsen. Anyone who's ever watched Hannibal need not worry as to whether he can play or not, because he is sick. Number 14, GARAK, Christopher Waltz. Well, that's it, innit? Oh, what, you want me to explain? Okay, right. No one would ever dream that Andrew Robinson is not the perfect fit for the Cardassian tailor. But there's also a very large contingent of people who I think will agree that Christopher Waltz, when searching for an intensely likable villain, is the man for the job. I mean, GARAK is a villain, even if he is playing on the side of the Angels. Waltz's performances speak for themselves here. He can play both a smaller, cagier role or an out-and-out, over-the-top madman. Frankly, they both suit the role of GARAK perfectly. He needs to be both menacing, coy, engaging, secretive, and at times mysterious. That would be a waltz in the park for Christoph. Yeah, Christoph. Walk in the Christopher. Look, jokes on, I've got one more joke for you, alright? Number 13, KASIDY Yates, Zoe Kravitz. Zoe Kravitz has been an absolute find in Hollywood recently, not least in her performance in Little Big Lies. She shows cool under pressure whilst also displaying a fun and carefree attitude. Something that KASIDY should be able to bring to the station. There's also a tough streak to her. That's something that someone who a marquee supplier would need, and also somebody who was a freighter captain. She would need to work as a counterbalance for Ben Sisko, which Kravitz could certainly achieve. Penny Johnson may have our hearts, but Kravitz would most certainly win them over eventually. Number 12, WEYOUN / BRUNT / the legend that is Jeffrey Combs. Now, sometimes you just gotta accept it. Things are as they are. Jeffrey Combs is WEYOUN and BRUNT, FCA, and we can only keep one character from the original Deep Space Nine in these crazy set of rules that we've put together and decided to stick to, right? There's no question at all about who needs to return. His sinister cool, his suave delivery of lines, and along with that, he's just bloody evil when he wants to be. Jeffrey Combs knows exactly what frightens you, and he'll smile his way into your nightmares. Number 11, Rom, Stephen Graham. Now, this is a very different choice from Max Grodenchik's Rom, but isn't that half of the fun with a reboot? I mean, there's that feeling that this Rom may not be such an easy pushover, but he certainly would be a much stronger Grand Nagus. Stephen Graham has been around for quite a while in Hollywood, but he's really emerging in the recent years for roles that are very dynamic. He can be brutal when he needs to be, something we haven't seen in Rom's character, but he can also play tender roles, something we most certainly have seen and would love to see again from Rom. And coming up, his pairing with Toby Jones and Harry Melling, well, that would be a great trifecta. Wait till you see where we put them on the list. Number 10, Jake Sisko, Caleb McLaughlin. Jake Sisko, as played by Cirroc Lofton, was often the core of Ben Sisko's emotional journey, at least in the early years of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Both Avery Brooks and Cirroc Lofton have credited that relationship that developed between them as one of their fondest, warmest takeaways from the entire series, and you can really feel it oozing out the screen even today when you watch it. Caleb McLaughlin rose to prominence in his role of Lucas in Netflix's Stranger Things. Along with the rest of the young cast in that show, McLaughlin displayed incredible acting talent from an early age, standing out among his fellow stars as the supremely likeable Lucas. I think he would work well in Trek. So he's likeable and has done sci-fi? Bring him in! Number 9, Nog, Harry Melling. Harry Melling has come a very long way since playing Dudley in the Harry Potter movies. He's shown time and time again that with the right material he can deliver strong and standout performances. He recently offered a supporting role in The Queen's Gambit, the Netflix limited series starring Anna Taylor-Joy. This is another example of his understated yet multifaceted ability to mould to different roles. Aaron Eisenberg made the role of the first Ferengian Starfleet his very own, and he's very lovingly remembered by all Star Trek fans. There will never be another man like him, and he is dearly missed and should most definitely be remembered in the performance of anyone who takes on the role. Number 8, WORF, Idris Elba. Yes, I know, he's already been in Star Trek, but it doesn't matter, that's half of the fun. Plus, loads of people have returned to play different roles, so that's just fine with me. Who wouldn't like to see Idris running into battle or celebrating, saying Kapla, or running headfirst into battle for the sake of honor? And Idris, he's got gravitas, he's got suave. I mean, he looks like a man with whom messing with should be bloody low on yours, mine, and anyone's list. Number 7, QUARK, Toby Jones. To play Quark, an actor needs to be able to express under heavy makeup. Armin Shimmerman was the perfect choice for the character as he managed to make the nefarious con artist into a lovable rogue. Toby Jones has been knocking it out of the park in his roles throughout his career, while many audiences would have known his voice before his face because he did voice Dobby in the Harry Potter movies. He also knows how to play meek and turn heel. A perfect example of this turn heel was The Mist, where his mild-mannered shop clerk ends up snapping. Bagging him, that would be a win. Number 6, Dax, Tessa Thompson. Tessa Thompson has been impressing with almost every role that she has delivered to date. You will forget the film Men in Black International. While she achieved the most widespread acclaim for her role in Thor Ragnarok, she's shown in her other roles that she is flexible in what she can do. This is essential when you're playing a chill character, because not only does the actor have to embody the named character that they're playing, but like when you play the Doctor in Doctor Who, there must be something of the previous host on the board as well. Blue Del Barrio is making sure that her journey at the moment in Star Trek Discovery is doing just that, and Tessa Thompson has shown that she is more than capable of switching it up when the situation calls for it. I'll let you battle this one out in the comments though. Would she play Jadzia or Ezri? Number 5, Dr. Bashir, Riz Ahmed. Alexander Siddig was a fantastic actor in Deep Space Nine. We saw Bashir grow from a pompous, cheeky pest, especially when he was trying to get all up in Dax's trill. Oh, come on, that's a good one. That's a 10 out of 10. But once we got the backstory of his genetic enhancements and saw his relationship with O'Brien grow, he became something else. And Riz Ahmed has really shown in Rogue One, Venom, Nightcrawler that he has the range to play with already. And although there's a definite age gap between the choice for O'Brien, which I'm about to explain to you, and Ahmed, does it really matter? Or would it add to the charm of their relationship? Number 4, Chief O'Brien, Brendan Gleeson. Whilst he would certainly be an older choice to play the Chief than Colin Meaney was back in '87, Brendan Gleeson has the appropriate world-weary presence to more than perfectly play the main engineer on board the station. How easy is it to imagine him grumbling as the turbo lifts break down again, or having to fix a computer screen after another fight with the Cardassians? I mean, he's versatile, he's highly talented, and he would make a fantastic Chief. Number 3, Odo, Peter Capaldi. In 1992, Peter Capaldi auditioned for the role of Commander Sisko, the role of which of course went to Avery Brooks instead, who kicked it out of the park. But Capaldi has done so much in the intervening years that a turn as the stern but lovable Chief of Security, well, that could be an exciting move for all of us. Peter Capaldi's face, lose the eyebrows, soften up the features, and you've got a very convincing changeling. Peter Capaldi has both the gravity and also the warmth that we saw once we got to know Odo a little bit more as we got further into DS9. Now, to make the role both his own and also a wonderful tribute, I think Capaldi is the man. Number 2, Colonel Kira, Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt is one of the best actors working in Hollywood today. She has shown a massive range in roles that she's chosen, proving that she can carry both an emotional lead and action hero kick-assery as well. Her turn in Sicario is almost proof enough that the role of a hard-boiled fighter would be second nature to her. Yet Kira, as we know, is more than just a freedom fighter learning to adapt to the new normal of the Federation Alliance. She's also a Bajoran who wants what's best for her people. Give this woman a decent script, and watch that gold unfurl on screen. Number 1, Captain Sisko, Sterling K. Brown. Sterling K. Brown is one of the most impressive actors to grace screens in the past few years. He was excellent as the lawyer Christopher Darden in Ryan Murphy's The People vs. O.J. Simpson, and of course, he's in Emmy Award-winning form in NBC's This Is Us. With his gravitas, but good humour, he would be well placed as the leader of the last space station before the wilderness, and Wormhole, and Dominion. We won't get into it. He has shown on many occasions that he's more than capable of controlling the scene around him. Think of some of those confrontations with the Dominion. Brown would also be excellent in a standoff against the Cardassians. But he also displays a vulnerability that is key to humanizing Sisko. One of Deep Space Nine's most successful themes was that of family, and he has the skill to convey it. Brown has also shown that he can go straight for the heartstrings of an audience time and time again. You only need to watch one episode of This Is Us to see that. So there you have it. I've been Marcus Bronzy, and that was my reboot of the cast of Deep Space Nine. Question is, who would you have in yours? Let us know in the comments below. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also follow Trek Culture on Twitter. I too am on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at Marcus Bronzy, MARCUSBRONZY. And my podcast is called How to Kill an Hour. Listen to that wherever you get those. Until next time, Kapla!